call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is an open meeting of the Seward, Nebraska governing body. The city is certified by the Nebraska Open Meetings Act in conducting business. A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is displayed on the north wall of this meeting room facility as required. Disclosure of meeting recording processes is posted in the meeting room. A participant sign sheet is available for use by any citizen addressing the council. Presenter shall approach the podium, state the name and address for the clerk's record, and are asked to limit remarks to 5 minutes. All remarks shall be directed to the mayor, who shall determine by whom any appropriate response shall be made. The city of Seward reserves the right to adjust the order of items on this agenda if necessary and may elect to take action on any items listed. Please call the roll.
Kaler.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
Singleton.
Here.
Streisand.
Here.
Conyers.
Here.
Workman.
Here.
Wilkin.
Here.
We have a quorum present.
Alright, thank you. First 5 items this evening make up the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor, Wilkin, Kaler, Tines, Miller, Singleton, Streisand, Workman, 7-0.
Alright, we have a public hearing, ordinance to vacate the city right-of-way, road between east right-of-way line of Columbia Avenue and the west right-of-way line of Plum Creek Lane and Sunnyside Addition. Tim, welcome.
Evening, everybody. All right, what we have is a vacation of a platted road that the road never materialized. It's never been made into a road, and it was never named, even though it was platted accordingly. It is currently used by Craig Dittmar, just to the east of Wadier Apartments there, as a personal driveway. He's got an accessory building out back, and he continues to use it for that purpose. There is a sanitary sewer, city sanitary sewer that runs underneath of that connects the sewer from Seward Street to the rear property line. We will maintain an easement for that purpose. We spoke with wastewater director Call, and he's aware of it, and there's room, should there ever be an issue, to replace it off to the side of the driveway, so he's not too concerned about it. We did speak with Bob Myers, street superintendent. He's never done anything with that street ever. It's always been a driveway. We spoke with Craig Dittmar and let him know what was happening, and he always assumed it was his driveway. He had no idea it was a platted road. He's always used his driveway. He's always maintained it as a driveway. So we did mail him a formal letter, and we verbally told him what was happening, so he is aware that it will become part of his property and that he is responsible to continue to maintain it. With that, it was unanimously recommended by Planning Commission to vacate that road.
Thanks, Tim. Any questions or comments from the council? This is a public hearing, so I can open up the public comment portion of the public hearing. If anyone from the public wishes to comment on this item, please come forward at this time. Seeing no one wishing to speak, I will close the public comment portion of the public hearing and return to the council for any further discussion. Or would someone like to introduce the ordinance?
I'll introduce it.
The ordinance to vacate the city right-of-way of road between the east right-of-way line of Columbia Avenue and the west right-of-way line of Plum Creek Lane in Sunnyside Addition, as hereinafter set forth, to provide for publication of this ordinance in pamphlet form, to provide for a time when this ordinance shall take effect. The ordinance has been read by title and is designated as ordinance number 2024-7, and the title is hereby approved. I need a motion to dispense with statutory rule.
So moved. Second.
A motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor, Wilkin, Kaler, Tines, Miller, Singleton, Streisand, Workman, 7-0.
This is ordinance number 2024-7. Would anyone like to move that this ordinance be passed and adopted as read?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question is, shall ordinance number 2024-7 be finally passed and adopted? Please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor, Wilken, Kaler, Tanya, Miller, Singleton, Streisand, Morgan, 7-0.
Thank you, Tim. Item number 2 is also a public hearing. This is consideration of an ordinance rezoning property identified as Big Blue Sunset Edition from Agricultural District to RR Rural Residential District. Tim?
All right, this is a property owned by Jerry and Leanne Shaven on South Second and Isaac Walton Road. It does sit somewhat in the flood zone. We worked with Administrator Butcher, who's our floodplain coordinator, and he has no issues. The driveway will be in the floodplain a little bit, but the resident itself will not. It is in our ETJ, even though it's not in the city limits, hence the rural residential designation. There was a minor plat that went along with parceling out 5.01 acres for the purpose of a residence, and that was unanimously approved by Planning Commission, as was the recommendation unanimous for rezoning this to rural residential.
And the planning commission was good with all of this?
Planning Commission was good, yes.
Alright. Any questions or comments from the council? Is a public hearing, so I'll open up the public comment portion of the public hearing. Anyone from the public wishes to speak on this item, please come forward at this time. You good? Alright. I'll go ahead and close the public comment portion of the public hearing and return to the council for any further discussion. Or would someone like to introduce the ordinance?
I'll introduce.
Alright, an ordinance to amend the official zoning map of the city of Seward, Nebraska to rezone certain property within the extraterritorial jurisdiction of the city of Seward, Nebraska, now zoned Agricultural District to RR Rural Residential District, specifically a tract of land south of Isaac Walton Road and west of Isaac Walton Road, to describe the property rezoned, to provide for publication of this ordinance in pamphlet form, to provide for a time when this ordinance shall take effect. The ordinance has been read by title and is designated as ordinance number 2024-8, and the title is hereby approved. I need a motion to dispense with statutory rule.
Also move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor, Wilken, Kaler, Tanya, Miller, Singleton, Streisand, Morgan, 7-0.
This is ordinance number 2024-8. Would anyone like to move that this ordinance be passed and adopted as read?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question is, shall ordinance number 2024-8 be finally passed and adopted? Please register your vote. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor, Wilken, Kaler, Tanya, Miller, Singleton, Streisand, Morgan, 7-0.
This is the last ordinance for this evening. I'll need one final motion to make the ordinances a part of the permanent record.
Also move. Second.
A motion and a second. Please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor, Wilken, Kaler, Tanya, Miller, Singleton, Streisand, Morgan, 7-0.
Alright, thank you.
Thank you.
Under administrative items, item number 1 is consideration to approve a construction contract with BIC Construction in the amount of $2,498,000 for the Civic Center Phase 1 Improvements Project. Greg?
Yep, pursuant to actions taken by the city council at our last meeting, we awarded the bid. So now is the contract, after review by ourselves, our architect Clark and Anderson, and also by city attorney Hofschneider. We are good as long as there's no questions involved specific to the contract to move forward on this project and get started on the Civic Center renovations. I can answer any questions you have. Again, remember, we will work a few items out through an initial change order to bring it back down closer to 2.2 million. I think that will involve kitchen renovations in the basement and maybe the banquet rooms. But other than that, all the other phase 1 items will remain. And then the front ADA access will be a special project coordinated by the Civic Center Commission and Mark Holtman. So separate from this.
Any comments or questions for Greg?
All paid out of trust fund. So these are not city tax dollars that are paying for this. This is coming out of the Langworthy Trust that funds the entire operations and capital improvements of the civic center.
Any questions or comments before I entertain a motion?
Move approved. Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor, Wilkie, Taylor, Tanya, Miller, Singleton, Streisand, Morgan, 7-0.
Item number 2 is consideration of an amendment number 3 to professional services agreement with the Schemmer Associates for the Worthman Boulevard Extension Project in the amount of $79,665.15. Mike, welcome.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we recently approved, the council did amendment number 2 to this contract as well. We now have amendment number 3, so the proposal here is to complete Worthman Boulevard all the way to the western edge of the rail campus property. Previously, we had preliminary design of the full stretch of 1,800 feet and full design of the first 900 feet starting at Pine Street. This extends the full design, all contract documents for bidding all the way out to the Crandall property, roughly doubling in length. And so we decided that it was due to interest in the rail campus, efficiency in design, and probably a lower cost of both design as well as construction, that was prudent to extend the design out to the Coranda property. And so you can see on page 4 of the contract, it's the original contract amount of just under $129,000, the first 2 amendments, and this amendment just under $80,000 for that work. About 500, just under 600 hours, 584 hours for projected.
Thanks, Mike. Are there any questions or comments from the council? Otherwise, entertain a motion.
Approved.
Second.
A motion to approve and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor, Wilkie, Taylor, Tanya, Miller, Singleton, Streisand, Morgan, 7-0.
Alright, item number 3, consideration of a supplemental letter agreement with Short Elliott Hendrickson, SEH Incorporated for the East Seward Street Improvements Project in the amount of $33,700. Mike, welcome back.
Thank you. So this is engineering services during construction for the East Seward project, which is nearly complete. So the primary impetus of this is the 3rd bullet item in the middle of the page, as-built drawings. So there were a considerable number of changes, especially to buried utilities, that we want to document in the plan set, and particularly the electronic plans, so that we can update our GIS map and keep a permanent record of what actually was built out there. It also includes the first bullet item, some additional site inspection that was done by the engineer. Totally, there was initial contract with SEH for about $200,000. About half of that was for survey. So what was needed in the project was more, both survey as well as site inspection as well. So this is to more or less make the SEH whole on those extra hours. They have provided documentation, photos, as well as logs of the time that they spent out there to confirm this amount. So with that, I ask for approval for the amendment in the amount of $33,000 and $33,700.
Are there any questions or comments from the council? Or entertain a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor, Wilkie, Taylor, Tanya, Miller, Singleton, Streisand, Morgan, 7-0.
Alright, item number 4 is consideration of a resolution to approve discretion for administration to add processing fees for credit card transactions by patrons of city services. Greg?
Yeah, this was one that we noted in doing the fee resolution. We've had numerous instances for a couple of years now, as we continue to work through different processors, as we change card services. The biggest one was probably bringing the new POS system online a few years ago at the golf course. We continue to see fees going up and opportunities of lost revenue on the amount, because we're just processing more and more cards. And so we get requests back and forth from different departments, whether that's rec for our online stuff where we're processing through $50 fees for T-ball or softball or football or whatever it is. And then we got another one just recently from our restaurant out at the golf course Calabria. They utilize our POS system out there, so we do not pass that fee on. As you've noted at most of the restaurants in town, or many of them, that fee is starting to be passed on now. They requested it as an option. Well, we said we don't have it as optional or otherwise. And so in discussing with City Clerk Bartman, we said we think the best idea is that we have it as an option, and then administration can weigh whether it's appropriate to pass that along or not. Because either it's all in or not in, and I think all in would probably for utilities and things like that be more than we would want to do. But we think where it's appropriate, where people are used to it, like a restaurant, where we can help them gain a little, because they have no control over it. This will allow them to gain just a little bit more revenue. 1 or 2% can add up in those margins, and so we felt like this was the easiest way to handle it, but also be fair in how we dole it out. So that was the impetus for it that kind of led up to this point.
Any questions or comments for Greg? Otherwise, I ask him to introduce the resolution.
I'll introduce the resolution.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So when the collaborator uses it, we push the fee onto them?
No, we
We
take the
it,
fee.
right?
Yep.
Okay.
Currently, yes.
So all those processing fees are
They add up.
through us.
So with this, we're just approving that it's the discretion of whoever's processing can add those fees to
It's
that,
the
or
discretion of us as the administration. So I would say yes, we can do it at the golf course, or yes, we'll do it with our rec. I'm not gonna do it as one-offs and stuff, like, yeah, charge Councilmember Wergen, but don't charge Streisand. But we would
Right.
implement it as a policy within a department. Again, for utilities, completely inappropriate. We process some pretty big bills. But in places like out there where we're paying for their credit card fees
Yeah.
on their sales because of the way we have that set up, it seems like that would be an appropriate one to pass along.
Other concerns?
I mean, it's just, I mean, if we're looking at the, whatever the processing fee is, I'm gonna guess it's around 2 to 3%. I mean, I think the biggest hit that as a city's taking is on the utility side. I mean, you look at how many thousands, and are we absorbing that back in the cost of the utilities, or I'm like, that's,
We are.
to me, that's the aspect of it.
Whatever revenue source we've identified the revenue to go into, so again, Parks and Rec, the line items for Parks and Rec are reduced by approximately that much for all transactions. Utilities would be the same, that we would be losing on. So everybody that's, I think a mass majority though, unless they're going online individually and paying or walking in the door, a mass majority of the automatic ones are account draws. So we're not, it's a little bit different. But the credit card ones, the processing of the credit card, and all of our rec fees online are all credit card processed. So when you have a $2,000 revenue line item and 90% are all online. And we're just seeing more and more as we get better at utilizing Square and some other different online aspects, making sure the website is operating correctly and functional. We're only seeing increase, less and less checks coming in each year.
So the real main concern was basically a third-party processing, like we do for Calabria.
Yep.
Yes, Rick?
I just want to mention that I know a number of people have said how they really appreciate the opportunity to have the automatic transfer from the bank go directly to pay for utilities to avoid, you know, the running around process there. And so when somebody does pay it through automatic funds from the bank, there's no fee involved there, is there? For the city, no loss of funds. Okay, thanks for clarifying.
And just something to keep in mind too, like in my Lincoln job, when we license car dealers, when they do their renewals, we've moved all of that online now. And so, they have options on how they wanna pay, and they're told, okay, if you choose this option, this is the fee. if you choose this option, this will be the fee, and if this one may not have a fee. So we wanna make sure that they're not surprised by a fee, but they can decide on what the convenience is for them, on what level they wanna do that, and that's something we may kinda have to gravitate towards, because, you know, more and more of these transactions are gonna be electronic, and, you know, navigating that in a way that's convenient for the citizen, but doesn't, you know, cost us an unnecessary amount of transactional fees. So that's kinda like the direction we're looking at, but, yeah. I mean, you'll see places like, remember, not long ago, they'd say like, you couldn't run a credit card at a gas station for less than so many dollars, like, there's a minimum fee and this and that because of that expense, so. Any other questions or comments? Rich, you introduced the resolution?
I'll still introduce
You
the
want to still
resolution, I'll
introduce
still
it?
do it.
Okay, thank you. The resolution has been introduced and is designated as resolution number 2024-14. Okay, you just testing.
Just writing.
Would anyone like to move that this resolution be passed and adopted?
I so move.
We have a motion and a second, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor, Wilkie, Taylor, Tanya, Miller, Singleton, Streisand, Morgan, 7-0.
Alright, item 5, consideration of a resolution to formally establish a fee for special designated liquor licenses, SDLs. Derek?
I'll try not to test you on this one. Sometimes you just write things and you get in the mode of writing 14 and you write 2014 instead of 24, so sorry about that. So basically, we're going through our master fee schedule, like we have been, trying to figure out what fees we're all charging, if they've ever been formally passed or adopted anywhere. This is a fee that we've charged for a while, and it's just never been passed by resolution that I've found, so just establishing what we're already doing. We're already doing this, that's why we put formally established, because we already are doing it. So it's just $40 for an SDL event, get the license from the state, hand it over to whoever's catering, and then that's usually the process. So that's about it.
So that covers the whole fee?
Yeah.
$40 is all it's for?
Yep.
Okay. So when the city has their special, we gotta pay the $40 too?
Well, Tom would take
Technically, we don't, Tom passes it on.
Yeah.
that, or whoever the
Somehow.
caterer is.
The fee is paid by somebody.
Somebody put his name.
Any questions or comments? Right there.
Move
We'll
or
get-
introduce.
Yep, introduce resolution, by John. The resolution has been introduced and is designated as resolution number 2024-15. Would anyone like to move that this resolution be passed and adopted?
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor, Wilkie, Taylor, Tanya, Miller, Singleton, Streisand, Morgan, 7-0.
Alright. Item 6, we have an update on the Wellness Center. Director Brazy, welcome.
Hello, everyone. Last week, on the pool area, the roof decking was established, so it more enclosed the whole area. They still had some areas kind of on the ends to finish, but they did get the decking on that pool area, which is a big step. As they're finishing that out this week, they're mobilizing the different equipment in different groups, because they will dig the pool, start digging the pool at sometime next week. So we're on schedule for that, and we'll start seeing that process happen next week. And that was what was originally supposed to happen. Last Friday, the west end of the parking lot was poured. They split it into thirds, a west, an east, and a south. And they did, they just decided, the company decided to do it in smaller pours, which probably is a good idea as the workers can now move their vehicles when that concrete gets cured, they can move their vehicles on there and they're not sitting on dirt, and so it just keeps down what is tracked into the building. So that was done last Wednesday. They are setting up, setting the forms for the east side, and that should be poured next week. And again, that allows the vehicles then to come up on that parking lot, and that, as that progresses. So that's a good thing to see. So those are things that we saw. Another thing that happened last week and is ongoing is the locker room corridor in between the pool and the gym areas. Those structures were put up, and so there was steel put up in between those and framing put up in between that, and so you can really see the locker room area right now. It's hard to see from the road as you're going by, but that is in between. They'll continue to put up the framing of those, and especially when they get those poles out of the way that were bracing the concrete walls for the pool area. Those will be gone when they start digging, and then they'll continue to just put steel framing up. So that continues to progress very well. And this week is just a big week as they continue to move on. And I talked to the superintendent on site yesterday about weather, and the people that are here doing the majority of the work are from out of state. They're here and they want to work. So they're not gonna take rain days unless they absolutely have to. So they're getting to work on that, and so that's a good thing. And the last meeting, we're about 20% of the way through cost-wise, as Sampson calculates it. So about 20% for that right now. So there continues to be a lot going on, and everybody that comes in there, it's amazing how much bigger it feels once you're inside of it. From the road, you really do not get a good idea. So hopefully, sometime soon, we can get all of you up there to see it and take some tours. So, because it's a lot of fun to show people around where things are going to go. That's what's going on right now, and things will continue.
Thanks, Joel. Any questions or comments for Joel? Under 6A, your consideration? We'll do
I'll just do, the contract came and we read through it. Everything looks really good. We're actually in really good shape because since our project has already started, we will get the first half as soon as contract is signed, and we can get all that verification, but we get the second half when we have spent $562,000, so equal to what the grant was. Well, since we have bills rolling in every month, that's not gonna be hard to do. And so we won't have to wait on this one until the end of the project. So it really is very helpful. There's some that wait for completion, and there's a chance that if they want to, they could hold 10% back until completion, but it's also possible they could give the whole thing, the rest of it to us at one time. So it really was, we didn't see any issues with it, and so.
but we'll need a motion to approve that 6A.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay. Is there any questions or comments?
No, that's okay.
Would you like to make a motion?
I'm ready to move.
You're ready to go.
I'll move to accept.
All right.
I'll second Rich's movement.
All right. Please register your votes. Please show your votes.
Voting in favor, Wilken, Kaler, Tanya, Camiller, Singleton, Streisand, Morgan, 7-0.
All right. Thanks, Joel. Next we have the city administrator's report.
Lots of things going on in the city right now. Park Avenue is, I saw Sergeant Frazee just start laughing in the corner. Highway 15 is the big one though. That project is moving along swiftly. It changes every day, so we have to be on top of it. And I know kudos to Tim, to Mike, to Brandon, to Bob Myers, to anybody that's at the library or City Hall at the moment, because they're literally right on top of us. I thought my office was gonna shake into the ground yesterday as they were taking out the pavement in the middle of the intersection. So they've diverted traffic, as you've seen. A little surprise in there, we weren't aware. Again, it changes by the minute. We weren't aware that they were gonna close permanently, for now, the intersections at 7th and 5th. So you can only take right-hand turns out of those. And so I think that may alleviate itself at some point, but that's gonna be a temporary one for a couple weeks here. So, correct, Mike? It does help on traffic safety, but the crosswalks are also disengaged, and so pedestrians need to be very careful. It's like crossing down by like 7th or 4th. it gets a little, is 7th Street, but now you got a bunch of cones and stuff in the way, so it's a little bit harder to see you. So you gotta be very, very careful on that. I think they're prepping to pour a 3rd lane over by, between South Street and 34. It looked like they were ripping that concrete up. And they've re-diverted just of today. The driveway coming out of Jones Bank was going across to our alley. Now they're on the new concrete and then swung down to South Street. Is that what they're doing at the moment?
I believe so, I haven't been down there.
Okay. It looks like they're U-ing them out to South Street so they can get into the intersection and get those pours done here shortly. So, people just need to hang with us, try to monitor. Trying to do our best. As soon as we get information, we know something's gonna move, we try to get it on social media. That's the best place to find information, is to follow us on Facebook for updates, as we hear them. And we'll keep going on that. The water main project moved on beyond the, block between Highway 34 and Seward Street. And so now we're moving further north, and so you've seen a lot of those cones dissipate, but we'll give it a few weeks, and then the state will come in and rip all that right back out. So, that's going on. I received some updates on the design for the water, tower, to try and get our artwork done, so I'll coordinate with the mayor and the contractors and the artist on that one to bring you some renderings, to see if we can get some final approvals, for some art ideas. And that will take place, but that's been a labor of love. When you finally start talking to the guy that's actually up there, they have a different perspective on what they think you can actually do. So, and then you can see numerous items in ours, rail campus items, prep work, continuing to work on the wastewater treatment plant funding. Got some different irons in the fire with the state. So, and we turned in our fund request to Senator Fisher's office. So, also have a really big grant for grid resiliency that myself, Larry Ruther, Jared Hochstein, and Olson are working on over the next couple weeks to try and get that in. So that'll be a conversion one for voltage conversion. So that's what we qualified for. So we'll see if we can get that in, if we'll get any funds for that. So quite busy, but I can answer any questions you might have in regards to the administrator's report.
Any questions or comments for Greg, or entertain a motion to approve?
Second.
Need a motion and a second. Please register your votes, please display your votes.
Voting in favor, Wolfen, Kaler, Tanya, Miller, Singleton, Streisand, Morgan, 7-0.
Any future requests for council agenda items or administrative action? Seeing none. Welcome. What's going on in Seward?
Few updates. This weekend, Friday, April 19th, and Saturday, April 20th, we'll have our tire collection event. That's in partnership with Seward County. That's down at the fairgrounds, and we're putting out marketing materials in the Blue River Buzz and the paper about that. Also this weekend, Saturday, April 20th, that's the annual Seward Cleanup Day. We partner with the city of Seward on that to host it at the Horseshoe facility. We're also marketing with the Blue River Buzz, Facebook, SCI. We won't have the hazardous waste, that's only every other year. Tuesday next week, April 23rd, it's a ribbon cutting for AgriFac down at the Seward I-80 exit. Jonathan, I think, has sent a calendar invite for that ribbon cutting with you all. Everybody's encouraged to join us for that. Thursday, April 25th, that's our annual business anniversaries luncheon with our local businesses that are celebrating 5-year increment anniversaries, from 5 years all the way up to 160 years and everything in between. You're also welcome to join us for that, and you can RSVP to our office if you want to attend. Beginning of May 4th through the 9th, that will be Seward County Gives, which is raising funds to support 40 charitable causes. If you can promote that, please consider promoting this upcoming giving opportunity. You can visit Seward County Gives to find out more. And then lastly, reminder to just promote local shopping to your constituents, especially during this construction. And with the the water pipe repair project, we want our local business community to thrive even when we have all these challenges. So, that's it. Thanks.
Thanks, Jacob. Next we have a strategy session.
Kelly, did you get a response back from that? Then I don't think we need it.
Never mind, that's a pass. Pass. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
We need a motion and a second. Please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor, Wolfen, Kaler, Tanya, Miller, Seward, Construction, Morgan, 7-0.
Okay, thank you all and have a great night.